Go to your Apple or Google Play Store and download the WVTC Gospel Radio app today. You can also say, Alexa, play WVTC Radio Skills.
Would you like to play WVTC Radio Network?
Absolutely. Download it today.
Tell by the look in your eye that you don't love me anymore. Lately I've been so unsatisfied, and I can't feel you anymore. No, girl, my love was all I had to give, and you threw it all away. Baby, you destroyed the best years of my life, and I got just one thing to say. Everybody's gonna know. Everybody's gonna know.
Good God morning, people of God. You have tuned in to the Snoozers Radio Show. Yes. I am your host, Corey Wright, Pastor Corey Wright. My co-host, Gigi McKenzie, will not be here today. She's letting us take over the show today. The one thing you guys may not know, her brother, who's a doctor, was a member of his church. So this is a little known fact. We welcome you this morning. We have a really important show. Let me start the show as always. We know what the problems are. We know we need to solve them. Well, we offer on this platform of solutions, dedicated acts of action that bring about true change, not just talked about change, and no excuses for. Excuses are man tools of incompetence that build bridges to nowhere and monuments of nothing, broadcasting live from the WBTC radio network here in Chicago, also on TV, also on YouTube, also on Roku, Apple. We are everywhere. And I thank God for this opportunity. I want to say what's up to the owner, Dr. Franklin Morris, one of my greatest friends. And this morning, we are talking about the importance of voting. Let me introduce to you my distinguished panel. I start with the guy to my left right here, who is such a monumental person in my life. It's like my dad, the one that got me into therapy, the one that when I was preaching some of the greatest sermons, let me know that I was bleeding and I need to go see a therapist, and it was life-changing. So Deacon Mitchell, tell people a little bit about yourself.
Hey, how you doing? My name's James Mitchell. I'm a licensed clinical social worker. Right now, I'm a member of the Chicago Black Social Workers Political Action Committee. I have a background in working with veterans and with being a supervisory social worker for the Department of Veterans Affairs, former regional manager, clinical regional manager for Readjustment Counseling Service, which is part of federal government departments of the Defense and the Veterans Administration. I'm a father. I'm a deacon. I'm a lover of Black people and of all people. Okay.
Well, it's nice to have you here. It's a great honor. So you're saying you're a little educated, huh? Now we have distinguished a man of God, a great person. I met him a while back, and he is so deep. We have Dr. Ernest Webb. Dr. Webb, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Say yes, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
I'm putting him out right now.
Thank you so much for inviting us. I get another invite back. I'm a therapist. I have a PhD in psychology from Northwestern University, a master's degree in social work from Royal University George Williams College. I have also did clinical work and administrative work with the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs. For the last 27 years, I have had my own practice. I have a private practice. And so, like I said, I got both a PhD and an MSW in social work. I'm a member of the Association of Black Social Workers, PAC, a PAC, Political Action Committee, is a organization that can't endorse candidates, political candidates. And so all of us are part of that Black Social Workers PAC. So I'm married, have been married for 56 years. So to Rosetta Webb.
Well, I just want to say somebody that just spoke didn't say hello to their wife or how long they've been married and nothing. I'm not gonna say no names. I'm looking over at the party right now.
Hello, Mom Mitchell. My wife. I've been married for 53 years to my high school sweetheart. Love her.
53 years and forgot to mention. You lucky I got my buzzer because
I got caught up.
Okay. That's why I've been married for 56.
Oh, okay, yeah. So you remember you've been married 56. Yeah.
And like I say, I have been working with the in private practice for the last 27 years. I do a lot of work in Ghana, West Africa. I've been to Ghana, West Africa about 38 times. And so I've been twice this year. I do some work over there too.
Okay.
I have a not-for-profit called Home to Ghana, and Home to Ghana takes Black folks over to Ghana. And like I said, I do some work over there. So like 38 times. So that's me.
Man, well, it's a pleasure to meet you, sir. Well, I know you, but for the audience to meet you. Now we have Miss Diane Powell, powerful woman, awesome, great personality, very educated lady. It is such a great honor to have on that. Tell the people about yourself.
Good morning. I feel the pressure that I have to establish my marriedhood. I was married 48 years. I am now a widow. But again, my name is Diane Powell. I'm a licensed clinical social worker. I was retired. I was executive director at Metropolitan Family Services for 34 years. And then accepted what was supposed to be a temporary job and became president, CEO of Roseland Hospital and retired from that. And so now I have a very small private practice where I do crisis work, pretty good for a 79-year-old lady, still working.
Whoa.
But I am really happy to be here and have this opportunity to talk about how important it is to vote.
Well, it'd be hard for me to act crazy today, wouldn't it? I've been wanting to say that in a room full of therapists for years. Well, we are about to get into it. Let me just first start off and say this. This is a very important election, but a lot of people feel like, what's the sense of voting? Because is Kamala Harris really for the people? Is she really for all people? Will whoever president, will what they do get down to the grassroots of people? You look at the economy being in such a bad place, all these deficits, and a lot of people are like, well, my vote don't count. Why should I vote? I want to ask you guys, first off, before we get into the meat, why is it so important to vote into this election? And what do you think going to come out of this election? And what do you hope to come out of this election? Who want to start?
Well, first of all, we are a PAC, a political action committee. So we are in the business of endorsing people or not endorsing people or telling folks who not to vote for. So this is important to us from that perspective in terms of us, of course, endorsing Kamala Harris. Now, we basically see voting, period. You don't do anything. Everything you do affects you. The clothes you wear, this radio station, everything is controlled by people who you vote in office. The FCC controls whether you're going to be on Facebook or not. And so whoever you vote for, they're going to put the people in there that's going to tell you what to do, regardless of whether it's your shoes or whether your food you eat is safe. Every aspect of your life is by the vote. Every aspect. The candy you buy, the food you buy, all of it is dictated by who you vote for in terms of who they're going to put in charge of those various items. So it's extremely important that you vote.
Yeah, and I also want to add is that voting affects you from the cradle to the grave. And it's important to understand that, yeah, we want Kamala Harris as the president, but you need to be concerned, especially some of the younger people, about the down ticket, about who's going to be your judge, who's going to be your county or township commissioners, who's going to be your dog catcher, your sheriff. And this is what's so important. A lot of times people don't realize that from the time you were born to the time you died, there are vital statistics being kept on you, and there are people taking notes. These things that are happening now in our political arena happened before. This is not the first time. So young people need to be impressed upon that right now you can go with early with early voting and register right there and vote at that time in 26 states. Okay, so your importance is our importance. We're the elders now. We need to throw things down to the millennials and everybody else so you can get out there and vote so that you can get into office and you can support us and we can support you.
Okay.
I was just wanting to add that it's important to vote, but this election, and I know we say that every time, but this election is more important than ever because our democracy depends on it. Now, I know that we're not teaching this kind of thing in schools anymore, and we learned that because we've done some training with high schoolers, and we learned that they don't understand, they don't know what it means when we say democracy, but it affects your ability, the freedom that you have now will be solely changed. And that is why you have to vote. That is why this vote makes a difference, because you will not have the freedom that you have now.
Well, let me first, after one of my guests turned his phone down. I was just messing with him. Let me hit this, because this is what a lot of people that heard me doing the show is feeling like. Okay, it was the black vote that put most of the presidents in. When Biden won, he had the greatest percentage of black votes there was in an election that we all vote. I think it was something like 97% of black votes. Now, when we put Obama in there, and did he do anything really for the black people? Because he did a lot of things for the gay and the gay association and those things, but what did he do for the black people? Same thing with Joe Biden, said that you're not black if you don't vote for him, that he was going to do a lot of things, and the same thing happened with Joe Biden. So why should black people think it's going to be different with Kamala Harris? Because here's the thing, I still work in the system. Like and I want you guys to attack this, really talk about this, because you guys are either some of you guys are retired, or you're in a position where you have already, being at the top of your career. So you guys are already set. But the young people, the people who are watching the money going to immigration and going into the migrants and all this, whereas then you have a deficit for the different cities, and then you have economy where you got people they're deciding whether I should buy groceries or buy medicine. So when we look at us as a people, as a race, as a political force, because Kamala Harris is not going to get in there without the black vote. Let me just say that right now. They're not going to get in. She's not going to get in without the black vote. Why should people vote when they take that thing? And I know, and I want you guys to attack it. It's not going to be easy.
So it goes back to what I said earlier, understanding how the system works. When Obama was in there, he lost the House and the Senate. Therefore, he couldn't get anything done because he couldn't get the votes to get them done.
Okay.
And Biden has done more for black people than any president, than maybe Johnson. but because he has turned, first of all, the economy is better than it's ever been in many years. There's more job opportunities than has ever been in many years. He has made more appointments, a Black woman to the Supreme Court, and Black judges all over the country. So really, he really has stepped up to keep the commitment that he made to Black people.
And I'd like to jump on that too, because and kind of reiterate what Diane said, because the fact that when Obama was elected into office, the first 2 years, he had a very slim majority in both the House and the Senate. And the first years he was fighting to get the insurance for everybody, Obamacare. That's what's called Obamacare. It's the Affordable Care Act, where everybody can get insurance if they based on their affordability, et cetera. So he was able to get that through by a slim margin. So he got that through. Like Diane said, after that second year, they had elections again, and he lost the House in the Senate. Could not get nothing passed for the next 6 years. What happened was that the Senate is the one who okays federal judges. So for those 6 years, every time Obama submitted an application for a judge, they let it sit. They had 1,000 judges by the time Obama. Now, once Trump and them came in, they just they got their own 1,000 judges. Then all of a sudden they're gonna say Obama didn't do nothing. He couldn't do nothing because of the fact that the Senate had those thousands or so judges, all federal judges, locked up for 6 years. They wouldn't let him vote on them. Then when Trump comes in, all of a sudden they're gonna let all his stuff go through. So that's and it's the same way in relationship to Biden. They've been fighting them all the way. Plus, you got 2 renegades in the Senate who are Democrats who keep voting with the Republicans. So now all of a sudden they got his hands locked on a lot of things. So let's look at it for what it is in terms of the why.
Yeah, the head of the Senate held up an appointment to the Supreme Court.
Mm-hmm. And what I wanted to add is a couple of things. I want to talk a little bit about immigration, but I want to say, when you woke up this morning, what color were you? Now, what I want to talk about is that people talk about migration and immigration, and a lot of times they don't go back and GTS, Google that stuff. Reading is fundamental. You find that these so-called immigrants that people are talking about, or migrants that they're talking about, a lot of people try to say that they're Mexican and Latinx and this and that, not realizing that a lot of people are coming through Mexico who are of different nationalities, who are making it to America. That's one point. The situation that we had recently in Ohio, these were individuals who were asked to come to Ohio to work in industry because people were not taking those jobs. Your farms, your harvest, what comes into the nation regarding your tomatoes, oranges, everything is done a lot by migrant labor. And the one thing that I want to share, all over the Eastern Seaboard, during the time of the year where you have shrimp and clams and lobster and all these type of things come in. People come in from Haiti and other lands on work visas to work in America because people won't take those jobs in order to keep our infrastructure going. So that's what I want to say about that. So.
Okay.
Also, too, you were talking about the immigrants, and Kamala keeps letting us know that last month or so, they had a bill to address the immigrants.
Exactly.
To stop the immigrants. They had the bill. It was already, they would Biden would have signed it. Trump gets on the phone and calls the Republicans. And the Republicans, they're the one who wrote the bill. And the Democrats jumped on it, a very hardcore bill that will help the immigration system. Trump gets on the phone and calls the Republicans, don't vote for it. They own bill. And then you turn around, how come Biden is not doing anything for the immigrants? They stopped the bill last month.
Okay. All right. Now, that is a good point, and I'll give you that the great point. You make great points because I actually work for, I don't know if I will say where I work for, but I work for the government, and I've watched, how a lot of that funding has gone out. But again, when we think about the deficits now, my question is, are you saying that we should vote Democrat? I mean, because one of the things that when I was studying for the show, that more Black businesses were started under Trump. More Black businesses were started under Trump than any other president. When he touted that, I thought he was crazy until I looked it up and realized that more businesses were started with Trump. So should Black America, should people who won't change vote Democrat? Because when we think about all the money that's going out for the wars, we think about all the money that, all the things that's happening, we think about how all the jobs and stuff is being taken. Should we vote Democrat? Because when I look at the fact, Democrat or Republican, how many of what they've done affected us directly? And when I mean us, I mean Black people. Now, I can only talk about the race that I belong to, as you asked the question when I woke up Black. Will it affect Black people? Because we're all Americans, but at the same time, we look at the deficit of what Black people have according to the other races in the United States and other neighborhoods. I work in different neighborhoods, and I see the difference in my neighborhood and other neighborhoods. So my thing is this president going to really do something for Black folks?
Well, I'm glad you brought that up. Because
Come on.
The GTS, Google that stuff. That you went and you took a look at it, and I appreciate the fact that you did that, because a lot of times Black people get misconstrued information. Like questions will come out. Well, how are there more Black men in prison than there are in college? There are more Black men in college than there are in prisons.
That's
now,
true.
The other thing that we have to take a look at is the Electoral College. We have states here that in the United States that go by what is called the popular vote. The popular vote being that the person that gets the most votes wins the prize. In other states, we have what's called the Electoral College. That means no matter how you vote, if Willie Bobo, they got in there under the Kanye West for president thing, decides, well, oh no, I think I'll vote for someone else. The majority of those electoral votes go towards who the electorals say. And so your popular vote does not mean anything. The only way that can be changed is if you and your people get involved, get involved and say, we want to change this. We want to get rid of the electoral college process so that the popular vote can win.
Okay.
If that had not happened, we would have had Hillary Clinton as the president of the United States.
I want to also just do a little history at this point too, in terms of voting.
Okay.
They are trying to suppress that. We've seen that on TV for the last year.
Yeah.
They're trying to stop Black people from voting, period. And so if they're trying to stop us from voting so hard, why are they trying to stop us from voting? One of the things you have to look at it from a historical perspective, when in essence the 50 people got together to form the Constitution after they had won the war. When they got together to form the Constitution, they decided, George Washington, Jefferson, half of those 50 people were slave owners. They had to decide at that particular point, we're going to do a constitution. Now, what they said was that we only want white men aged 21 years old who were landowners to vote. Only them, nobody else. No Black folks, no white folks, only them.
Okay.
They said, wait a minute, we can't put that in the Constitution because that we're talking about rights. So how are we going to put that in the Constitution? They decide, let's each one of us go back to our state and put it in the state constitution. So every state had a rule that says that only people who can vote, white men with land, 21 years old, not women, not white men who didn't own land, all the way up to 1836.
Okay.
In 1836, Jackson came in, who was a poor white guy who was a racist himself, came into the presidency and said, no, we're going to change all these state laws. And so what happened was that the women didn't get the vote until 1920. See, so and they're still doing that now. I'm gonna go as we go into the radio show. I'm going to talk about this a little bit more as we get towards those type of issues. But there's a reason why they're trying to suppress the black vote.
Your wife made a very great point. She said during COVID is when many of those black businesses got started. Mom Mitchell, thank you for joining. Said that you can't start a business issue. They keep it going. Gigi clearly, I can't see what she said about political process. Overall understanding that it is simple. Okay, vote for your choice. That's powerful. Gigi, I don't know if you were on the show earlier when I told you that Dr. Webb, your brother, went to his church. He know your brother, and that he became a doctor. New Faith Baptist Church. So he know you. He was looking forward to meeting you. So let me give Miss Diane.
Yes. What I want to say is, we all know that Trump is the biggest liar that we've ever known.
Okay.
No telling what, I mean, he will say something right now, and in a few seconds later, he'll tell a lie about it. Now, black people believe that he is responsible. They gave $1,400 out because of COVID, a stimulus check.
Well, they ain't getting no check from nobody.
The checks was ready to go to be mailed. They were already in the envelopes. Trump pulled the checks back and signed his name on them. It was the house.
Teacher.
It was the house that got that bill paid, which was Democrat.
Okay.
Nancy Pelosi is the one responsible for getting that passed. But he signed the checks. And to this day, you talk to young black people, they would tell you I'm for Trump because he gave me that money. He gave me $1,400. He did not do it. So I wouldn't be surprised at any information you look. If Trump have an opportunity to change the facts, he will change the facts to fit him. Anything to do to keep him in office.
You know, it's almost like seeing him lie every day. Is so. I mean, is that who we want for a president? The president who's gonna lie every day. They do a thing, and they figured out that for every speech he gives 35 lies, all documented. Is that who we want to be our president? Yesterday they had they sent the government down. I think it was in Georgia. I think it was where they had indicated that they was working. The government indicated they were working very well with the FEMA, and the federal government was really helping them. Trump gets on about 2 months later and said, President hasn't even called down there. They're not sending no money. Is that the kind of person who we want to be our president?
No. But let me go over here for a minute, okay? Because a lot of people had a lot of hard feelings against Kamala Harris for being a prosecutor in California. You know, why Kamala Harris? And it's a twofold question. Is this country ready for a woman president? Two questions. Tell me why from you guys, because you guys are very educated, knowledgeable, amazing men and women of God. I'm blown away. I'm really learning something. You know, Deke knows, you know, I like to push the envelope because I want to see just how, what it is, because we got people watching. I want somebody to be informed. So it's a great honor to have you guys here. But tell me why Kamala Harris, because some people think she ain't honest about stuff, and some people think that she's a president of the establishment, that politics is a system, and that she is appointed by that system, and that everything that was set up for that, whereas she would get in there, because I believe that Trump would have beat Biden. Because I think Biden was not mentally capable of taking on Donald Trump. But I mean, Kamala Harris, to me, I thought she She did an absolute great job in the debate. I mean, she was just hidden. So I want each one of you to tell me why Kamala Harris is America ready for a woman president? From Mr. President to Madam President. Who wants to start first?
I'll start with that. Yes. The United States is ready for a woman president. The United States has always been ready for a woman president. The United States has always been ready for a black president. Always. It's never not. Why haven't we had one? Because white men who run it have have done the system in such a way where they could not be voted in.
She's married to a white man.
In terms of her being married to a white man, that doesn't have anything to do with her being president.
Okay.
We're talking about her being president. Okay. You said, were we ready for a white female president?
Okay.
And so we are ready. You know something, that whole issue in terms of males and females, that's an economic sense. You asked the economic question. All of our life, they've always said things like, a woman is not ready to be a bus driver. Why? Because the fact they give all these excuses in terms of why she couldn't drive a bus. You know why they didn't want to? Because they didn't want to give up those jobs. They want the job. So naturally, they're going to say a woman is not ready for A, B, C, and D because that's taking away jobs. So yeah. Were they ready for a black president? It's always been ready. Now, but the white men who run the show are not ready because you're going to be, quote, taking their jobs.
Okay.
See, so is a woman ready to be a jet pilot? Always been ready to be a jet pilot. All you got to do is read the book, go through the program, and you can fly. That don't take no strength to fly a plane, drive a bus. And and they have to ask the question, are we ready for a woman to be a bus driver? Why? You know, so yes. So the question they ask is, we're ready for a woman president.
So my point is, why is that even a question?
Okay, talk to me about it.
Because we're a country that we subscribe to the best, most qualified person to do a job. But it goes back to that old system of making women second-class citizens and black women third-class citizens. And it is not fair. It is a carryover from days of old. Women can do whatever they are qualified to do. And Kamala has apparently done a good job in all those jobs she had. In fact, in her state, they made her they voted her. Each office she ran for, she won in her state. So so of course she's qualified and more qualified than perhaps many of those people who have run and or been president because of the experience that she brings to that. Yes, when she first ran, she was not my candidate. I was a Biden person. I didn't like it because of the challenges that she put when she debated Biden. But she has proven to me, one, loyalty to this country and loyalty to Biden. So she is definitely qualified as a person, not as a woman. She is the most qualified person. It shouldn't even be a question about between her and Trump.
I agree. I agree that yes, we are ready for a woman president. And we have been ready for a woman president for quite some time. I know women who are helicopter pilots. People talk about what she did in the state of California, but they say, well, she put black men in jail. But when you go back and fact check, and you find a lot of people are going back and saying, oh, I was wrong. I'm sorry that I said that.
Talk to me.
Okay, because how many of those people did she make sure that that through the infrastructure in California that those individuals receive jobs? After that, you have to go back and you have to look at those things. And I would be concerned, and I am also concerned on a humanistic level. When there is a hurricane or a natural disaster in my area, do I want somebody that's going to throw paper towels at me, or who's going to use the infrastructure of FEMA to come in and to help me and to give me electricity, to get me back online, to get me a place to take a hot shower and put on some clean clothes? Because that's what's paramount at that time. Not whether I'm white, black, blue, yellow, male, or female. If I'm having a heart attack, I wouldn't care if somebody showed up in a miniskirt and fishnet stockings, as long as they stop me from having that heart attack, be it a woman or a man. And so she is highly qualified for that position. And the last thing I'll say is that the vice president operates at the bequest of the president of the United States. And so when she's allowed to get out like she has now and to state who she is and what she thinks, I like who she is and what she thinks and what she's saying.
You know, in terms of what you had said too, in terms of women, are we ready for a woman? We're a long ways away from other countries: Denmark, England, Barbados, Liberia. All of them are women presidents. I mean, there have been all kinds of women presidents in terms of other countries. So the United States has been suppressing the system so that women or blacks cannot become president, although Obama slipped in. But I'm going to tell you about that a little bit later, but they made a system where that probably not going to happen again. But he slipped through the cracks there with the Voter Rights Act was still in progress then. It was in state, but they have since watered that down now to they've watered the black vote way down. And I'll tell you about that.
Okay, we'll definitely get into that. And let me just say for the record, I think that she is qualified. I think she'd be the best candidate for what she did when it came to raising funding. She was almost 100 million in a day. President, or like 300 million in a week, like phenomenal. And she literally gave the Democratic Party a boost of life when Joe Biden stepped out. So I think she'd be an excellent candidate. I think she's going to be an excellent president. Now let's talk about abortion. That is one of the most heaviest things on this topic. Some people feel like she is the front runner because of the issue of abortion. Should a woman have the right to choose what's her body? Now, there is, when we think about should religion or your beliefs have anything to do with politics? Because if we look at what the Bible says about abortion, is abortion right? Did Trump do something wrong by appointing judges to reverse Roe v. Wade? Should a woman have the right to do what's best for her and her body? When we think about woman's health, we think about rape, incest, and things like that. That's different. But if somebody just decided to sit down and have sex, but now I don't want to be a parent, or I don't want to be pregnant, and then they go have an abortion, things of that nature. And here it is. What he said, and I want you guys to attack this. He said, I took it out of the federal hands and put it back into the state hands so that every state should decide on what's best for that state. Because we know that Illinois is a place where you can have an abortion, where, it's where you can have procedures like that. And it's a friendly. So when we talk about abortion, did Trump really do something wrong? What do you think about Roe v. Wade? Should it go back to the states like he said? Or should it, be federal? Or bottom line, should a woman have the right to choose what's right for her body? Who want to start with that?
I got something real quick. Okay. Real quick. He got those justices, chief justices, in office, and then they made the decision regarding Roe v. Wade, and he had a whole lot of people kind of backing him on that. And he put them in there so that they would do that. Now, once that happened, and he started getting some flack from women and men, a lot of flack. What did he do? Oh, well, I think they should go in, and each state should make the decision now as to what should be happening. And by the way, they're eating the dogs, they're eating the cats. That's all I got to say.
Boy, hey, man, that's why I love you. I love this guy right here. Because when I tell you about fire and passion, but okay, we don't go, but I want to stay with you. So you don't think that you think that the state should handle abortion issues for each state?
What I'm saying is that there's a difference between federal law and state law. When you make a federal law, everyone has to adhere to that federal law. And so if Roe v. Wade was federal, then you cannot go against that. Each state can decide what they want to do on a state level that has an effect on the citizenry within that state. A prime example was in one state, they said that you can't give people standing in a line waiting to vote a sandwich or some water.
I remember that.
And they made that law because the state was able to push it through because they held the majority of votes in that state. So do you get my drift? You get where I'm coming?
So a woman should have the right to choose what's right for her body. It should not be a government issue in abortion.
It should not be, and they shouldn't put doctors in a position of violating the Hippocratic Oath, where they say that this woman is getting ready to die and has a fetus that's going to expire in her body. And so I can't take it out. If I do, I'm going to jail.
Okay.
He believes,
Dr. Webb, let's talk about that.
Trump actually, as did J.D. Vance, as did the Federalist Society, as did all the ultra conservatives, they want a national law that says that abortion is against the law. They want it like national. That's what they want. That's what Trump got for him. And all of a sudden, what happened was when Roe v. Wade was overturned, Trump realized he was in a box because of the fact that now all of a sudden everybody's saying, well, he's going to try to make it national if he gets in. No, I'm not going to try to make it national. I'm going to let each state know it's going to be a national ban. Now, in terms of looking at the churches, et cetera, so you got a difference between the church and the state. And I think that every woman should be able to make her own choice in relationship to her own body. And we also got to look at the fact that when Trump put those judges in there, they have been trying to get conservative, ultra-conservative judges on that bench for the last 50 years. They couldn't get them done. Trump gets in there, and all of a sudden he gets remember I told you that they wouldn't let Obama did it? Now he can go in there, he could do it. See, because they wouldn't even let Obama do the Supreme Court. He had enough, they held off on his Supreme Court thing, and then when Trump went in, they let him do it. So all of a sudden they got the stack against us. So now those judges that you put on there, not only are they anti-abortion, but they're anti-Black laws too. See, so we're all going down with those judges. They're going to vote against every civil rights bill we've ever had. Every one of them. Every one of them. Every one of them. So you got abortion, you got civil rights, all hooked in together, and they all going to go down together.
Especially one in the same way with the college?
Same with the colleges. As a matter of fact, the Republicans in certain states got now, and the Congress passed a law about 6 or 7 months ago, said that on your college application, they can't even ask you what your race is no more. Today, the Republicans did that. Today, you can't ask. College can't ask. Now, if you want to write an application in there and say, I'm from a poor Black neighborhood, you can do that. But a college cannot say, so colleges cannot have Black preferences anymore. That's gone. And the Republicans and Trump now, they waiting to just do thousands of things like that. They are waiting, I'm telling you. And that's what Project 2025 is about.
That's Project 25.
It's all laid out for us right there in Project 2025, 970 pages of what they're going to do.
Wow.
And this ain't the first time.
And in Florida, they got the Republicans that controls the state houses in Florida got it now, where in the education system, you can't even use the word slavery in school. A teacher will get fired. What do you have to use? You have to use involuntary servitude. That's the law right now.
Wow.
They're ready to make that a national law. Trump is.
Wow.
A national law.
And yesterday on the news, it talked about Oklahoma has voted that a Bible will be in every classroom, and the Bible must fit these specific criteria. The only Bible that fits those criteria is the Bible that Trump is selling, and they're going to buy 25,000 of them. That's on there. But here's what I want to say about abortion. Personally, abortion is not something that I think that I would have considered. But what I believe is that decision is between a woman and her God. And it's that decision and her God and her doctor. Trump appointed a Supreme Court that overturned 50 years of precedent and took away women's right to manage their own bodies. I think that's absurd.
Okay. Dig, you want to add something to that?
Mm-mm. I think that point is well made, and like Dr. Webb stated, some things have happened like this before. They're talking about the Democratic Party used to be the Republican Party. The Republican Party used to be the Democratic Party. The Whigs used to be, this stuff is not new. These things, there's a difference between a bill and a law. That's why they were pushing so hard for us to have a civil rights law instead of a Dr. Webb, what did they call it? Instead of a law, they stated that they had an act. So we can act like this for a while, but we don't have to really do it because it's not a law. So the federal government cannot send troops in to Mississippi or somewhere else because the preference in that area is the reserve in that area or the National Guard when there's something going against the grain of our country. If it was a law, when it was done, the federal government could intervene immediately and say, stop that mess.
And to your point, James, it was the Republican Party that was opposed to slavery. Isn't it interesting now that it's the Republican Party that want to move us back into slavery?
Wow,
And
that's powerful.
Right. And Gigi,
Whoa.
to your question, they're not trying to rewrite history. They are rewriting history.
Wow. Just so everyone knows, include my distinguished guests, that I'm not just asking questions just to ask questions. I've had what is important to voters. And I'm going through them. Like the next thing I want to really get on, because you guys are saying how important it is to vote. We want to talk about taxes. We want to talk about taxes because the wealthy is getting the brunt of the tax breaks, whereas the taxes, especially the different brackets, to me is eliminating the middle class. It's pushing us to either rich folks or poor folks. That the middle class, that's the one thing that I really endorse Kamala Harris on, is she says she's fighting for the middle class because the taxes are crazy. They're taxing everything. And the more you make, the higher the taxes, you get to a higher bracket where you can write off everything. But when we look at taxes, everything they add a tax on, even the gas, even what you buy, everybody, every city and every state
every county. Everybody has a tax. What do you think? When you talk about the election and important to vote, why is taxes out of control the way they are?
One of the things when you talk about the taxes and stuff like that, one of the things that Trump's niece did was write a book on him. And one of the things that his father believed was that two things: only suckers go into the military, and only suckers pay taxes. Losers and suckers pay taxes. So all of the tax breaks is going to be gotten if he gets in. If you vote for him, all the rich, wealthy folks are going to get tax breaks.
Okay, but don't tax breaks create jobs?
Yeah, it does, absolutely. But they found through Reagan and all those, they found what happened is the tax breaks are for it. It's called the trickle down system.
Right.
But it don't trickle down. They keep it. See, if they get enough money to hire 100 people, they hire 15 and keep the rest. So the trickle down system does not work. And how do you think, and Trump prides himself on not paying taxes. And so what he's saying is that rich folks are not going to pay taxes, and we're going to put a, now also too, you got to look at the fact that three families in the United States, 3 families own 90% of the money in the United States. 3 families. And the world actually, and I won't go into that, is 16 families that own 90% of the world money. So tax breaks are for the rich. Trump is going to give plenty of tax breaks for the rich, unless you vote not to. And what you said in terms of Kamala, she wants to go and make more people middle class. Now, if you want that, vote for her. Your vote will count.
Okay, because
the year that they announced that Trump paid, I think it was $170 something or something in taxes, I had to pay $10,000. So, and I'm just a working person on just a regular job. So how do you think that makes me feel? Yes, I'm going to vote.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yes, I'm going to vote Democrat.
Absolutely.
Because that who is supportive of my community.
But see, let me ask you this question, because the way Trump look at it, and a lot of rich people look at it, is they can outsource their jobs, because one thing that he says that I agree with is tariff. Those merchant products coming to the United States should be taxed at a higher bracket. They should be taxed greater. I believe
that's what trickles down.
Because when you look at the fact that, okay, you give rich people more tax breaks, because if you look at it, there at one point in Chicago, right here, a lot of businesses were leaving. But when they start getting more tax breaks, they start opening up more stores, which create more jobs. So giving bigger tax breaks to the rich, doesn't that create more jobs for the poor?
It doesn't, because the fact is, it's called the trickle down theory. They don't do it that way. They tend to. It doesn't go down. They keep it at the top. And in terms of looking at taxes, like I said before, Harris is saying that she would make more middle class, taxes. But the fact of the matter is that the tax system is going to, the way they got it, is going to help the wealthy, and they're going to keep it because the wealthy, they don't want to spend no. Look, Warren Buffett said, to Diane's point, Warren Buffett said, and he's for having more people pay tax, have rich people pay tax. Yeah. He said that he pay more taxes than his secretary. Wow. But, proportionately, she's less taxes than his secretary.
Okay.
Proportionally, not because his secretary ain't rich, but she pays 50% of her money, saying he only pays 10% of his. So proportionally, his secretary pays more than he does. That's what rich people do. They're about the business of keeping their money.
Yeah, and you want to take a look at what exactly you're talking about when you're talking about taxes. That's why it's so important for people to be in these state offices and in these federal offices to monitor these individuals who say that they make money or that about taxes, or they make lousy statements like we're sending all of our money over to Europe and that we shouldn't have money coming in. The free enterprise system in America is one of the reasons why people trade with America. Okay. America under the Biden administration has started to use our own fossil fuels, which are cleaner and better than fossil fuels, the fuel that we were getting from Europe. And so now 80% of the fuel that we use to make your gas, to heat your houses and all of that is coming from America. And those jobs are in America. Taxes or tax breaks for individuals who use clean energy, are starting to happen now. And if you pay attention to what's going on globally, you'll realize that just last week, England stopped using coal and started using wind turbine and solar energy. That is where it's going now. And that was one of the things that was pushed during the Obama administration and also pushed during the Biden administration and will be pushed during the Harris administration. Things change. Why would I ride a horse when I can drive a car? You want to comment on that?
No, I just want to comment on your tariffs. You mentioned your tariffs.
That's what I'm talking about.
And what happened is that when he puts a tariff, $100 on tariff, it's just going to trickle down. And the people who are actually buying the stuff going to wind up paying it. That's all he's doing. Every time he add a tariff on there, the prices go up.
Wow. Okay.
So fine. It sounds like a good point. We're going to put the tariffs on them because no, you putting the tariff on us.
200% tariff
200%
on a car.
On a car.
That means you're not going to be able to buy a car anymore.
Right.
Well, doesn't expire. Okay. Because I'm thinking, doesn't it inspire us to create more in America, or stuff like that? Because you got to think about all the money that's going out of America into other countries.
But this tariff, the burden of the tariff, what Dr. Webb was pointing out, is on the middle class. It's on the working people.
Right.
That's who the money is ultimately coming from.
Right.
They're not paying. They pay it, but they're going to get the price they asked for. They're going to charge. They're going to add on the tariff to the cost of the car, and then guess what? When we buy the car, then that's when we pay it.
Right, because Chinese going to up it if he gets the 20% up tariff. The Chinese is going to up it 20%, and then we're going to wind up paying up to 20% at the store. Right. So it might sound good, and the things that we sell to China, they're going to up their tariffs.
So we upped ours.
We up ours.
Wow.
So we lose.
So it sounds good. It sounds good. It sounds tough, but no. It doesn't.
And the thing is that a lot of the things that Trump talk about, he doesn't understand. That's what I don't understand about the media. They just give him, he stands there and rattle off this stuff like it's all great. And he doesn't even understand what he's talking about. Right. He's talking about windmills and lepers and things, it's really crazy stuff. And I'm going like, why are they allowing him to do that?
Right. Because the vote, and like Diana said in the beginning of the whole thing, normally we would go back and forth in terms of looking at Democrats and Republicans. Let's look at them evenly, okay? Now you got hundreds of thousands of Republicans jumping over here with our Harris. There's got to be a reason for that. Normally we would say, let's look at the Democrats, let's look at the Republicans, and let's see who's the best normally. But even the Republicans know that this is going down the drain.
Dr. Webb, I think it would be good at this point if you could give a definition of something that I think may bring some clarity to how Trump and others operate. Yes, deflect.
Oh yeah, it's a theory, right? It's a theory. It's a theory. You could Google it. It's a theory. It's called the dead cat. It's called the dead cat theory. The dead cat theory, and you can Google it, you'll see it. It's the dead cat theory in politics. What happens is if you got a candidate standing on the stage and you ask him a question or her a question, and she doesn't want to answer or he doesn't want to answer the question, he reaches down and gets a dead cat by the tail and throws it across the stage. All of a sudden, everybody's going like, look at the dead cat over there. You forgot about the question you asked him. So for 3 weeks, you're going to talk about the dead cat. That's a theory.
I forgot about the analogy. You know, you and Deacon Mitchell, y'all analogies be killing me. You ever talk to Deacon Mitchell, he give you an analogy, you be like, what? But he'd be good. Let me come to Miss Powell. Let's talk about the insurrection. And should people, should we vote? I told you, you never been on my show. I'll go in. Deacon Mitchell know about that. Listen, we're gonna talk because you know why? Because the voters are listening all around because they're voting. We're gonna listen. So, you know, I ain't coming to ask the easy questions. I'm gonna ask the hard questions. You guys are more than capable. You guys are bang, awesome, super. You know, y'all almost as good looking as me. Now, I was messing with you. Should people vote because of the insurrection? Trump said if he lost, there will be blood in the streets. He said he meant it metaphorically, or he didn't mean it intentionally. But with the insurrection, because you lost, there are people who lost their lives. They tried to take over the democracy. Tell me the importance of the insurrection with voting in November to you.
There has never been a time we did not have a peaceful transfer of office ever until Trump.
Come on.
Trump comes from a theory. He believes that everything is win and loss in the courts, first of all. But he discovered this population of people who believe in violence, who are still fighting the Civil War. And so this whole thing about his followers, I believe, is they view it as their opportunity to redo the Civil War. And that's what they're fighting for, the Civil War. Absolutely, the insurrection should be right up there at the top of our decision to vote, because he is already beginning to set up for this election the same scenario, that the only way I lose is cheating. That's what he's putting. People believe that. And that even though across the country, judge after judge, he took it to court, he lost. He is still telling the same lie. They had the debate between the vice president candidates. His person could not even acknowledge that Trump lost the race. He lost the race. And there's no doubt about it. And he is going to jail if he doesn't become president. And that is what he's all in for.
So you honestly think he's gonna go to jail if he doesn't become president? And that's the main reason why he has to win.
That's correct. That's correct.
Okay, Deacon Mitchell. Now, you know, you're very, then we'll come to Dr. Webb Blast. You're very knowledgeable. I've learned so much from you. And, you know, when we talk about the insurrection, you know, was Trump responsible for the insurrection? Did he ignite that riot? Should he be in jail? But what's the importance of this vote in November, considering what happened with the insurrection?
For me, what's important about the vote coming up relative to the insurrection is that fair is fair. My brother sitting over here, Dr. Webb, has a Purple Heart and was a Marine during Vietnam, during the time period of Battle of Quezon. I am an Air Force veteran. To have someone trying to take over the sacred halls of Congress, and that individual being the commander-in-chief, which means that he is the commander of all the armed forces, to actually go in and to say, hang the vice president, and letting these other individuals think that this is okay, is a dereliction of duty as commander-in-chief of the United States Armed Forces of America. Now, the other side of that is that this is not the first insurrection, and Dr. Webb may be able to bring some light to that. In the late 1870s, we also had another insurrection. That insurrection took out of office Black senators, congressmen, city clerks, sheriffs, all over the United States because of a deal that was made at that time, perpetrated by the Supreme Court and the powers to be at that time, one being Rutherford B. Hayes. You can, like I said, GTS, Google that stuff. And you will see that they actually came in armed and pulled Black elected officials that were appointed after the Civil War out of their offices and out of their seats on the national level and on the state level. So the insurrection, yes, is important, and we should pay very, very close attention to what went down and to what happened. And as the last poet says in one of the poems that they did, just because you're Black, we can be hurt, maimed, and injured just because if we don't take action against insurrectionists and those who will take away the sovereignty of the laws of the United States of America, which my family and my friends and my brothers died for and fought for.
Dr. Webb?
Yeah, the insurrection was definitely Trump's fault. He instigated it. He did it. Why do I say that? Because a friend of ours, an acquaintance of ours, and a friend of Diane's, an acquaintance of ours, his name is Benny Thompson. Benny Thompson, Congressman Benny Thompson out of Mississippi, we worked with him.
Oh, wow.
He was the chairperson of the January 6th committee.
Wow.
The January 6th, along with Liz Cheney, who was his vice chair, but he was the chair. She was the vice chair, Benny Thompson.
Oh, wow.
They did a whole congressional investigation, and they said what? Trump caused the insurrection. So you don't have to ask, did Trump cause the insurrection? Because the committee has already, the congressional committee has already investigated it, had congressional hearings, have indicated that he started the insurrection. That's already been proven in Congress. But Congress is not a court. So it has to go through a court, see, in order to litigate it. But the congressional committee say, Benny Thompson, Liz Cheney, and that committee, yeah, and it's documented. Now, in terms of what James was talking about earlier, Brother Mitchell was talking about earlier, was that, and we want to bring this out in terms of looking at, after the Civil War, the North had won. So they had, it's called Reconstruction. They had won. So they said that we're going to keep the troops down, the Northern troops here in the South, and we're going to let Black folks vote. They're all going to vote. We're going to stay here with our army and let them vote. As a result of the army staying there during the Reconstruction period, which roughly between 1865 and 1877, you had over 1,300 Black elected officials in the South, Alabama, Mississippi, Georgia, Florida. You had folks who was even a governor, Pinchback, a governor of Louisiana during the Reconstruction period, because what happened is once the army said the Black could vote, all those ex-slaves went out to vote, and they got ourselves in 1,300 strong. Everything you think of, mayors, sheriffs, judges, all were black in the South, Alabama, Mississippi, Georgia.
Wow.
1877. So we right back where we were before. We at the same spot we were before. And so what happened is that 1877, a northerner by the name of Rutherford B. Hayes was running for president, and it was like a tie. And Rutherford B. Hayes, who was running for president, told the southern states that if you give me your electoral votes, I will pull the troops out and y'all can have the okay. So Rutherford B. Hayes won on inauguration day. He gave the orders, Union soldiers come out. When they came out, the Klan went down to these state houses, pulled the people out their seat, took away all our rights to vote. We didn't get the right to vote again until 1965.
Do the math. Do the math.
Wow.
1965. Now, sure, up in the North, who were voting, but they had gerrymandering there, so we really wasn't voting for nothing. But in the South, my father, I was born in the South. My father, when he went to vote, they would have a jar of marbles, and they would say, okay, how many marbles in there? You count right, you get the vote. He would guess, and they says no. So black folks could not vote in the South until 1965 when the Voters' Rights Act came out.
Wow.
That was federally enforced.
Federally enforced, right? Federally enforced.
Since Dr. Webb mentioned Congressman Thompson, I want to offer a shameless plug. In the Black Social Workers is having Congressman Benny Thompson to be a keynote speaker at our annual dinner, and I was trying to pull up my calendar to see this. It's November what?
26, I think. I'll double check.
November 26th. The Black Social Workers is having Congressman Benny Thompson, and since he chaired that committee, I'll also add he has had to add security. He doesn't eat food out. Any place he has to be careful because the Republicans seem to have a hit.
Wow. Benny Thompson will be, November 23rd.
23rd.
Okay.
55th anniversary.
Uh-huh.
Okay, definitely. I'll be looking for my invitation. You see that? Hey, you got to make a remind. Barter system. You come on here. I want an invitation. Give me some food. Okay. Let's deal with something that's very important. And, because you guys, I prepare for shows. So I already prepared. I got my list, you see, of what we talking about. And I'm going by list to list. Okay. One of the most important things that is a very important point and very important for the people in this election is jobs. First of all, we are with the emergence of AI doing a lot of people's jobs. I don't know if you all been to grocery stores now, but everything is self-checkout, whereas you have a lot of AI taking out jobs. But here is something that is concerning most of the constituents in most of the communities is illegal migrants taking jobs for companies that they're paying them little or nothing under the table, not hiring people. Now, a lot of people, and I already see my dad, Dickie Mitchell over here, I always call him my dad. He already shot, but it is a proven fact that there are a lot of illegal immigrants working these jobs, a lot of these fast food restaurants, a lot of these jobs, because I went to a chicken place, and I'm not making this as a joke. And I was telling a lady I want thighs, and she kept saying legs or wings, point to it, point. And I had to point to her thigh to tell her this is what I want because she spoke no English. So you have a lot of people, because there was, if I'm not, please correct me if I'm wrong, there are a lot of migrants getting money, getting so much money a month. There was also a proposal whereas if you took in migrants, the government will pay you money, which I didn't agree because you still have your own homeless people. You're doing so much for people from other countries, but you're not doing for the same people that's in Chicago or in these states. You're not doing the same thing. But a lot of people are afraid of this, and this is what somebody asked me to ask this question about jobs. Is like you have a lot of people who will take little pay, whereas you don't have to pay nobody skilled. Now there are skilled jobs, like therapy, like truck driving, like nursing, and other jobs that where you have to be skilled to have. But outside of any skilled jobs, you have to have official title. You can pay somebody less than what you paying them to do the same job. And a lot of people feel like even though the job systems are looking better, that if AI is not taking these jobs, then a lot of migrants are taking these jobs. And some people feel that it is a different kind of legal slavery. So I want you guys to talk about this because a lot of people feel that way. A lot of people feel that way because if you look at your different restaurants, your different jobs, you don't see the diversity in there no more.
I think it goes back again to what I had said earlier, that and Deacon Mitchell had mentioned earlier in terms of looking at the downline of the voting, in terms of looking at the senators, looking at your congressmen, that kind of thing, because of the fact that if in essence whoever's in there, like Biden is in there now, Biden has a solution for the immigration system. He has it already. Remember, I mentioned earlier in the show that the conservative Republicans and the Democrats came together, that came up to address what you had just said. Because of the fact that the Republicans dominate the House of Representatives, the bill got to come through the House of Representatives first and then go to the Senate, or vice versa, but it's got to come through there. Trump told them not to vote for it. So that we already got the solution, but Trump told them not to vote for it. Now, if Kamala gets in there, we got to make sure she gets the House of Representatives and she gets the Senate also, because of the fact that they have to okay what she does. So it's not just the president per se, but we got to make sure we get these congressmen, get these senators in there. So when she gets in there, that bill that I just told you about, that Biden had put on the floor last month will pass. And what you're talking about, all that stuff will be addressed. All that stuff will be addressed. It can't be, it's a legal problem. They got to change the law. And the Republicans and Trump does not want to have a bill that's going to fix the problem because Trump won't get in. So all these jobs, and about 6 months ago, all of a sudden, Biden and the Republicans got together and they passed a huge spending bill. Okay, huge spending bill. Those things are coming out now. All the construction that you see as you go across America, that's Biden stuff. All of them. You can't see you go to the highway, you look at all this stuff that's going on in Chicago, that's Biden's. And Harris.
Who's working on it?
But it doesn't say Biden. Now, if Trump was in there, he would say, by Trump. So what we're saying is already happening, and if folks don't give Biden or Kamala Harris the credit for it.
Okay.
Also, a lot of people say just what you said, that the migrants take jobs from us. It simply is not true. That they do it at lower wages. It's simply the wages are already low. They take low wage jobs that we won't work. They brought in Ohio, they brought those folks in to work because the people in Ohio would not work those jobs. And they brought them in because they needed the help. They brought them in legally. The Haitians, right, thank you. They brought them legally to work. And it was working out just fine until they made up this lie about them eating dogs and cats. And they won't back away from that lie. And that's the way, we have this country, we have a big Statue of Liberty that says it welcomes everybody, right?
Yes.
And so everybody is supposed to be welcome. And was pretty much so until the Trump administration. And then he talked about people from the S-hole countries. You know what they are, people from the Black countries would come to here to work. So it is just the stuff, it's their propaganda. It's what they put out there, and we embrace it and carry it on. But it simply is not the truth.
Yeah, I'd like to be, I'm going to try to be brief with this.
Go ahead.
Okay. And one thing I'll say is that the Statue of Liberty was Black.
Absolutely. I saw the real one in Paris.
GTS, look it up. They didn't want her, she looked a little bit too Black, So I want to say something about nepotism, cronyism, and county jobs. First of all, I'll start out by saying Kamala Harris is going to give a child care, incentive.
Come on, talk to me.
She's also going to give an incentive for young people, couples and such, to get a home. Those are two things. Got to have some place to live. Got to have somebody take care of a baby in there. Because, that is extremely high cost, child care. Some people out there can chime in on that and tell me if I'm lying or not. You can't work if you got to take care of it. Also, laws have to be passed so that when men who, let's say, are called deadbeat dads or moms who are deadbeat moms, so-called, try to get a job that they have to end up paying everything they have, back to the state before they can even start working. Now let's get back to your issue that you brought up about migrants. I'll first say that I implore young people to go out and to get those county jobs. Start at the lower levels so that you can get into the system, maintain those jobs. Because if you don't, people that don't look like you are going to have those jobs in the sheriff's departments, county positions, county hospitals, county jails, county road works, the forest preserves. All of these things are generated by the county. Now, jumping back to migration.
Talk to me.
There was a migration from the South where people migrated out of the South and they migrated to Detroit, Chicago, New York, and Los Angeles. Some of y'all mamas and daddies in them, grandmas in them, When they got to Chicago, they got the worst jobs in the meat packing industry you could get. And the white people didn't want the job. So they said, well, send the Black guys in there to be in there and to roll them sausages and to make them Italian sausages, make all that meat and cut that meat up in the freezers, And those jobs were so dastardly that people were dying on those jobs and they was cold and they couldn't even do it. And so that's when they start talking about, well, them Negroes are lazy because at the end of the week, once they got that check, they didn't come back. No, because they found a better job where they could make more money. And these people were migrants, but they were former slaves. And they had situations that happened. Everybody talk about, but a white man did this, white man did. The boll weevil. The boll weevil wiped out all the crops. White man, nobody else had no jobs. So you had to migrate to a place where you could get a job and you would take the cheapest job you had. Y'all people down south know what I am. That's what I'm talking about at the chicken shack when you would roll a giblet roller. You know how them giblets got in the chicken's butt? That was somebody's job to do that. And so those jobs were taken by migrants and people who look like us at that time. So taking the job that you can get to come to America, the land of the free, was something that was always done and always will be done, because like Sister Diane said, some people didn't want them positions. Okay. And that's why those positions are being filled by so-called migrants. It's people who want a job and want to take care of their families.
And to show how the system was supposed to work, my grandmother moved here from Mississippi, was the first Black hired at Campbell Soup to clean the toilets. She retired as a high-level union representative from there. That's the way the system is supposed to work. That you start at this level, and then you could move up. You have the opportunity to move up and make a difference in this world. And then about the statue, I was in Paris, saw the original statue of a Black woman had a chain around her ankle. They sent it to New York, and New York refused it and sent it back because they didn't want that Black woman, and they got the one they have now.
Wow. Now you guys have taught me something, because I didn't know that. Wow. I hope you guys have learned a lot. Now we got about, go ahead.
I want to ask, I want to put an international flair to this immigration, just a little peek of the international flair. Why do we have immigrants here in the first place? I go to Ghana, Cote d'Ivoire, Togo, Benin, and what I see is cocoa and some of the other products that we get the beans from, like from Ghana. We make them pay us, like, I'm gonna throw out some numbers, 5 cents a can for some cocoa. We make them charge. They got the bean. See, Ghana has the bean. Ghana, Burkina Faso, they got the cocoa bean. We don't have no cocoa beans. We got to get it from Africa. So the United States goes over there. They make them give us the cocoa beans, say 5 cents a can. Okay. By the time we get over here, it's like $1.50, $2 a can. They don't have no money because we done gypped them out of their money. They following their money over here. They just following their own money.
I'll mess me up with that one.
And if you look at the Italy Prime Minister, Giorgia Meloni, said that in essence, those migrants are walking into Europe, coming around there because we are taking their money. So she's saying right now, let's go over there and help them and give them a fair contract, and we won't have no problems with immigrants. We just want to throw that out there.
It's about pineapple.
And the same with the pineapple.
Tell about the bananas.
Same with the bananas. Same with the pineapple. You know.
It is 1:57. It shows in at 2:30. So we got half an hour. And there's two things I want to talk about because I want to hit every issue of the election, and that what is very important to people in this segment with you guys being so educated and well knowledge. Because I feel smarter being next to y'all. Matter of fact, when I walk out of here, I'm Dr. Corey from now on. I'm Dr. Wright. We want to talk about first the wars, Ukraine, then we're going to talk about healthcare. We're going to end it on healthcare. But I want to talk about the wars because here it is. This country is signing billion dollar aid packages to go over to a country. I'm not a big fan of Trump. But Trump, it did impress me when he went over to North Korea, because every president is scared to go to North Korea. He went over there and walked in North Korea. And even though they let him now, when you think about a lot of the presidents and how they feared them, they feared Trump. Sometimes it takes a maniac to make a maniac think about it, because he said something that this war would have never took place if he was president. I don't know such, but a lot of the country didn't mess with Trump, and they figured that he was a crazy guy. So we look at this war going on now. You have one war, Israel. You have Ukraine. You have all these billions of dollars going out of America, picking this up. Not only does it deplete what America has, but it also makes America a target. So I want you guys to think. I want you to talk about, especially with this election, with the wars. And do you agree with the wars? Do you think America is doing too much? They doing too less. Do you think it would have been different under Trump? What is your thoughts about these wars? Who would like to start?
Just real quickly, I don't want a fool to have an access to push the button to start a nuclear war. This individual said the other day that he would take care of it in the situation involving over there in Lebanon and the Jews and such like that. I would push a button and blow up their nuclear weapon. Do you understand what fallout is? Fallout would kill everybody. And so I don't want a person like that in office that would get mad and just push the button and throw the baby out with the bathwater.
You and these analogies, man. Go ahead.
You had mentioned Korea. When Trump won the election, he had to go into the White House to tour the White House. Obama toured him around. And he came out and he said, Obama says that the biggest threat to the world right now is North Korea. That's what he said. That's what Trump said. That's what Obama told him. So the first thing he's going to do is go over to North Korea to show how friendly we are. He goes over there, puts up a big show. Nothing's changed. Not one thing's changed. All he wanted to do was to show, I'm going to go over there and try to make them my friends. And he went over there and put up this whole big show. Not one iota. As a matter of fact, after he went over there several months, North Korea started shooting missiles over South Korea. Nothing's changed. Nothing's changed. See, and so Trump is a big talker, but he's a big manipulator too. And so he can make things look like it happened, but you have to look beneath the surface. Nothing changed with North Korea. Nothing's changed now. In terms of Ukraine, Ukraine was the only reason why Ukraine is under attack is because of the fact that Trump is Putin's friend. And so he knew that although they did take one of them under Obama, he took one of the cities under part of Ukraine under Obama. But then after that, the United States held his ground. Then when Trump comes in, he becomes buddy with Putin. So he says, nah, we're going to be good. Everything's going to be all good. You can do what you want to do. That gave Putin the okay to go and attack Ukraine. He wouldn't have attacked Ukraine if Trump had not given him the okay. And only recently he said that, don't worry, when I get in, I'm going to make sure that thing is over because he's going to let Russia have Ukraine.
Wow.
And it is still all goes back to democracy. If you notice, Trump courts the countries that are autocratic countries. And the reason why we support Ukraine is because it's this collaborative of countries that believe in democracy, because we believe that if they take over Ukraine, then after that, it'll be another country, then another country. That's why the countries that believe in the democracy are putting their money, not just the U.S., but all these countries are putting their money and backing Ukraine to help them maintain their democracy.
Absolutely. And two, again, going back to why, because you're saying that Republicans do this and Democrats do this. We're not talking about this in this election. We're not talking about voting on that in this election. All the questions you're talking about, that's really not about the election. The election is about whether we're going to have a fascist or not, whether we're going to have a dictator or not. That's what it's about. That's why, Pastor Corey, you're getting thousands of Republicans who saying, I don't like what Colin and Biden are doing. I don't like what they're doing. I don't like their history, but I'm going to vote for her. Like, why? Because if I vote for Trump, I'm not going to vote again.
Okay, now let's hit healthcare, because healthcare is one of the major focuses in this election. Because whereas I work for the government, so I got a good healthcare plan that covers my son, my kids. Then you have a lot of people talking about Obamacare. He's talking about repealing Obamacare. Then you have people with medical issues and everything. And when we think about healthcare, we think about the various finding insurance when you don't have jobs. We think about the medical card through public aid and other government assistance. I want you to talk about medical care when it comes to election, because it's different. See, it's different because one of the things about Medicare, healthcare is different for all of us, because healthcare for you guys are different because you guys are, I ain't gonna say retired, but you guys are elders, whereas it's different for me, or it's different for somebody in their 20s, or somebody have a lot of kids and maybe on public aid or general assistance or anything. So it's so diversified in the fact of this election. I want you guys to hit on that, because healthcare for you guys may be different than somebody, than me working or somebody else working, because I know that everybody don't have healthcare like I do. I have a PPO where my kids can go anywhere. So I want you to talk about healthcare. I want you to talk about Trump's plan. Well, she said Trump has no plan for healthcare, and Harris plan for healthcare. But I want you guys to get deep in that.
Well, in that Project 25, one of the things that is proposed is a system that is based on usage. So if you have a preconditioned health issue, you're going to use you'll use and need more health care. Whereas if you're a younger person and you and your family is fairly healthy, then you will pay less money for your health care. But those of us who are older and most of the time we begin to have these health issues as you get older, and you have to use it more, then you have to pay more money for your insurance. So it's not equitable. It's going to be, some people are going to be priced out of the market.
Mm-hmm.
And these insurance companies, it's just unbelievable in terms of how it's changing. Changing overall how healthcare is provided. In their system would allow the healthcare providers to make the decisions about how they want to operate and what they want to charge and all that. And Kamala's and the Democrat, there is more monitoring of it and unifying the way healthcare cost is handled and delivered.
Because I don't think Trump doesn't have a healthcare plan, actually. He has a concept in his mind of what it should be, but he don't have a plan. Okay. And as a matter of fact, the Affordable Care Act, they have been trying to pass the Affordable Care Act for 50 years, because the Affordable Care Act may have access to everybody at an affordable rate as we speak, It has and that's the Affordable Care Act. Now, they tried for 50 years. Obama finally got it in by one vote. He got it in. Okay, and that's what we have now. The Republicans have always said that we're going to repeal, our life is going to be about repealing the Affordable Care Act. Okay. And then even had one person who said, one Republican they overheard saying, we got to stop this Affordable Care Act thing because folks are getting used to it. See, they don't know that it's Affordable Care Act. They don't know Obamacare is the same thing as Affordable Care Act. So you can interview a white poor person and you say, how do you like your health care? They'll say, oh, I love it. Affordable Care Act. It says, no, it's Obamacare. Oh, no, it's not Obamacare. It's Affordable Care Act. Oh no, it's the same thing, you know. And so what happens is really interesting because all of a sudden Trump is seeing where the Affordable Care Act is a good thing. Folks are really looking at that. Now he's saying, as of yesterday, day before yesterday, one of the biggest things he's had to do was to keep Affordable Care Act.
Wow.
That's what he said day before yesterday. I'm working hard to keep Affordable Care Act.
Wow.
And you want to vote for him for president?
And let's be clear on this. I don't want to talk about us, who you mentioned have jobs or whoever. I work my ass off to get my health care.
You still got a little bit left.
To get my health care, for what I got. And so, but what I want to talk about is that universal health care costs money. And what has been put in place by President Obama and needs to continue to go forward is that so those in need will be able to receive the health care that they need. And so Big Pharma is not going to jump up there and say that if you got to pay $1,000 for insulin, that's okay. But when they knock it down to $30 for people of a certain age, and it's going to change for everyone, diabetes is running rampant in our communities. And to be able to pay $30 to receive your medication is phenomenal. It's a great task. Canada and Sweden and other countries have done this, but it comes at a cost to have universal health care. And it is incumbent on us to understand that they being certain administrations of the powers to be, they tried to make it seem like we were causing these problems. The middle class against the poor against the rich. Everyone needs health care. And we need to have laws passed. And that's why you young people need to get out there and get in some of these offices and to run for some of these offices so that we can continue to provide quality health care to our people and to change the laws. Because I'm a granddaddy, if I've got a grandson whose baby mama don't like what's going on and they get into it, he go to jail and she runs away and I get left with 5 or 6 grandkids, and I got a job, because I make a certain amount of money, they won't make a provision for those kids to be taken care of by me. They won't give me a break. Okay. And so, and you young men, this when I'm talking about this paying child support, some people have even given up their job. I ain't gonna work no more if they're gonna take everything I got. So it's incumbent for us, for health care for us, our children moving forward, to understand the effects of health care, especially mental health and as well as physical health, because if you don't find a way to deal with it, then the person that got this, you're going to be right back home with you. And you're going to have to figure out a way how you're going to deal with them, So,
okay.
Healthcare.
Now let me, because this is a gospel radio station, let me apologize for the work your A off. You say we can't.
They got that in the Bible. Wasn't there something involving somebody who had the donkey not talking and stuff like that?
Yeah, but I don't want them to get, is it the bar? That a big deal? Not a big deal? Okay, good, cool.
Okay, I apologize.
You see how my dad do? I call him my dad because this is the guy that got me started. And, I always tell that testimony that this guy got me through some of the hardest times, because here I am up there preaching, bleeding on everybody, and realize I bleed. And he said, everybody, oh, that's a good sermon. He walked up to me and said, hey, man, you need to go see a therapist. And that touched me. I'm like, wait a minute. I need to go talk to somebody. Have you guys ever seen 2 hours go this fast? Wow. It's been 2 hours. It's gonna be. We got about 15 minutes.
Wow.
You ever see this? How did you like the show? How you like?
Love it. I love to be able to get the
Yeah.
information out. I love how you ask the questions. Love it.
Yeah.
I'm having fun.
Yeah. I enjoyed it too. And
You make it so easy.
And I do apologize if I said something that was inappropriate, but there's some other things I could have said too that ends with different types of alphabets that I didn't do. So,
well, you still gotta give me a copy for
but
that.
I do
'Cause you don't have
apologize.
to- He gonna give me a copy of that.
Well, I appreciate that it's getting this important information out to the community because it's so valuable. It's amazing as we have gone around and we've done some of these trainings with high school students. And it's just amazing how much people have not paid attention to the value of voting.
You know, the blessed part about this is that I had what was important, and I went through all of it. I was showing the guys, but I had a list, and everything went through everything. We got 15 minutes left, and I want you guys to leave the people your lasting impression. Somebody, why they should vote. Whatever's on your heart, whatever's on your mind. I want we to take this time as we finish to let the people know. Say hello to who you want to say hello to, and let them know who you thinking. So I'll start with ladies first, and you can tell what you're thinking, why you support the vote. Give the audience your last thoughts.
So now you start with the ladies.
Well,
I've been the only one at the table struggling to get in a word edgewise.
Yeah, these two guys.
Now I get to start. I'm just kidding you. As I just said, this is really the most crucial vote you could ever cast. If you have never registered to vote before, please register now. Your life, your children's life, your grandchildren's life, all depends on it. You think things have been bad, but you don't understand how bad it can actually get. You have got to get out there and vote. And not only that, talk to your neighbors, talk to the people you go to church with, talk to the people you work with. Please, we must vote.
Who's you want
Oh, first of all, I like to say love, and share this information, upon any type of platform that you can. As a lot of people know, I try to let young people know that it's so important for you to vote. If you're 17 years old and you're going to be in November, you're going to be 18 years old, you can vote. And so get out there, get these county jobs, get these other jobs, realize that you can early vote. And when you go in, if you're not registered, you can register at that time by having 2 pieces of ID with you when you go in, and then you can go ahead and be able to vote. I'd like to thank my Diane and Dr. Webb for being the co-chairs of our political action committee. There are not a lot of Blacks political action committees that are out trying to make change. It's real important for us because they're banning books. They're taking away things that we have worked so hard in order to get. And it's so important for us to leave a legacy for our children's children. A lot of times, biblically, people think they're only talking about money. They're talking about more than just money or leaving an inheritance for your children's children. And I'd like to just real quick thank my wife for putting up with me, and to thank these brothers and sisters here who have been doing this forever, since the 1960s up to right now. And so glad to be a part of this. So glad and to thank the Stellar Award winning station that we're on right now, you know, and allowing us to be here. And so continue to share the good news, and you got to vote.
He didn't thank me, did he? See, you know what, man? We get off this ass, it's gonna be me and you. No, Dr. Webb.
I want to first of all thank Pastor Corey. Allowed us to come on the show. Good man. So definitely like to thank him and the owner, of course, for having us come on. And the last thing I gotta say is the fact that your vote counts. And I started by saying that whatever you do in this life is based on somebody voting to do it. And if you don't vote, then you're at the will of somebody else. So your vote is definitely important. This particular time, as I said 2 or 3 times, is really not between Republicans and Democrats so much as it is between democracy or fascism. That's what it is. It's between democracy or fascism, which is why you've got thousands and thousands and thousands of Republicans who are coming out for Kamala Harris, because the fact they know that if Trump gets in, he's going to take over the Justice Department, he's going to take over the FBI, and he's going to arrest his enemies like he said he was going to do. He's going to arrest his enemies and he's going to kill them. So now, as a result of that, you can look at Project 2025. It's online. Project 2025 is the plan that it's about 970 pages. It's the plan that they're going to use for the first 180 days that they get into office. And the first 180 days include, and this is right there in black and white. I don't even know why they put it in black and white. The Heritage Foundation, which is an ultra-conservative organization, came up with this. And it was written by 140 ex-Trump workers. All of his cabinets and stuff, they're the ones who wrote the 2025. And Trump is saying, I don't know nothing about it. But all his people wrote it. And so within that, they're going to take away the Department of Education. They're going to take away...
Vice President endorsed it.
And the Vice President not only endorsed it, but he wrote the forward to it. To it. So it's not about, like I said, like we were saying, black folks have criticism with the Trump administration, no doubt about it. Republicans who are joining Kamala Harris, they got issues with her and Biden too. But you see, they jumping over there with Kamala because they know that if they don't, it might be their last time they vote. So that's what I got to say. Your vote counts. You don't think it does, but your vote counts. So we have a saying at the PAC: your voice, your vote, your victory.
Your voice, your vote, your victory.
Thank you.
I want to thank you. Thank you, Mom Mitchell. I want to thank all of you. You guys are such an amazing group. I've never had a panel with such distinguished guests. I feel a lot smarter because I'm sitting here. I'm just kidding, but you guys hit every political point, and you didn't run or dodge anything. You did it in such a manner where you gave us historical references, you gave us clear, decisive information, and I've learned so much sitting here with you guys. What if people wanted to support you guys or get in contact with you guys or even join? How would they do that? Who would they get in contact with?
Well, we're a PAC of the Chicago Association of Black Social Workers, but we're independent in that we are 501c3. And as a PAC, we cannot solicit funds.
We're not a 501c3.
Right. The Black Social Workers is a 501c3. And as a PAC, we cannot solicit funds directly. People can go to the Association of Black Chicago Association of Black Social Workers and make a donation to the PAC, because we can only raise funds through the Association of Black Social Workers. So that's how. But we also would be interested, you can contact us with political issues that you think is important for us to look at and address. We do endorse candidates, and we also send along a little change to them along with our letter of endorsement. So any support to us helps us support candidates that are important and we endorse candidates throughout the country. For example, we endorse what's his name in Texas?
Brooks.
Albrook, who's running against Ted Cruz.
Raphael Warnock.
And Raphael Warnock, of course, we endorse. So it really is your voice, your choice, your victory in supporting us.
All right. Well, guys, again, I want to really thank you guys for tuning in Solutions Radio Show. This happened to be one of my best shows. I miss my co-host, Gigi.
Hey, Gigi.
Gigi, we glad. But Gigi, Gigi said, well, give you guys a chance to talk politics, and you guys were amazing. You guys definitely want to tune in, to next week's show. But next week's show, we're talking about relationships. Should a person have to go through somebody's problems to get to their heart? We're going to talk about that because too many relationships are not taking place because a person got to go through all their problems just to get to their heart. And is it fair? We're going to really talk about that. So it is really such a great blessing. But I want to thank the individual and everybody know what this man right here next to me and all of you guys mean to me, what Deacon Mitchell mean. And I took therapy. I still go through therapy. Because it helped me. My breakthrough, as I always say, came through therapy. They come in church. And, some things you can't pray away. Some things you need professional help. And each one of these great people will help you if you reach out to them. You can follow them. Dr. Webb is one of the deepest guys I know. He's almost as deep as me. No, but, I got to talk stuff. But it has been a great honor, and you learn something like love to share. You got one more thing?
No, the one thing I got to say is that mental health is very important, like Minister Corey said. And just very quickly, a lot of people have mental health as part of their job, healthcare, and they don't realize it and they don't use it. You don't have to be so-called crazy in order to seek out mental health. Sometimes you just don't know, and you need a little help in getting it done. Also, if you have suicidal thoughts or anything like that, you can call 988, and someone will help you with dealing with that. You don't have to be suicidal. You can be anxious or whatever, and just call them and say, "Hey, I need some help. I need to figure this out," because we don't know everything.
All right. Well, people of God, thank you again. Everybody needs to hear this information. Everybody that's listening, this needs to be shared. Everybody needs this information. This is one of the greatest shows I've ever had. Let me say hello to Deirdre. She'll be on my show next week. We'll be in Gigi, and we're going to really talk about it. So I am, because the following show after that, we're going to be talking about what do you do when the war's won? Especially people been fighting all their lives. What are you going to do when the war's won? A lot of people keep fighting. Even though they got victory by God, they still fight. Why? We're going to talk about that. Ooh, so we're taking this thing to a whole nother level because people need help and you got to get help. So guys, listen, you got to get up and be your own rescue. You're not responsible for what people did to you, but you are responsible for getting help. We love you guys. We will see you guys next week. And remember, God loves you, and there's nothing you can do. Love you guys. Bye.